John, thank you for joining me. It is good to meet you. All of us here at NFT NYC, we celebrate the cool things you're doing with your creativity as a photographer. And for those that don't know you in the NFT NYC community, please introduce yourself to me.
Yeah, my name is John Knopf. I'm a landscape photographer. I've primarily made my income off print sales for the last 15 years. Found the NFT market and about 2.5 years ago, and got completely obsessed with the technology and how it can just change the entire world for artists. And yeah, there it is.
I love it. Can you tell me the difference between your existing artists that have no interest in the new digital asset world, your artists that are hybrid, that maybe weren't, collectors of your landscape photography, now they've come and joined you in this new endeavor, and those that are brand new, they found out about you because of NFTs. I'm assuming you have kind of three different types of collectors: those that are hybrid, and those that are new. Is that correct? And do you have any insight on that for other photographers?
That's a good question. I think for me, I've experienced with collectors that most collectors are there to support my passion. That's why they purchase my art. I've found this in the Web3 space as well. I'm not sure if it's how I curate my market or my collectors or how that works, but for some reason, I'm always able to seem to find really good collectors who are actually collecting my work because they like it and because they really want to support the passion. So I would say, like, with traditional art collectors, like from my galleries to to NFTs, there's not a huge difference. As I know a lot of people might say differently, but I don't see a huge difference, other than the NFT collectors are obviously more bullish on what we're doing with crypto, right, and the blockchain. But other than that, traditional art collectors and the collectors that I found in the NFT world have a lot of similarities. They love art.
What are your thoughts on one of one NFTs compared to one of many? Doing a photograph that you'll never do again, or at least that might be the assumption, compared to doing maybe 10 or 1,000 of these digital assets against that specific photograph, or maybe taking a photograph, making different versions, but ultimately it's the same. It's kind of one of many. Can you give me some thoughts as a creative, as an artist? How do you kind of make those types of decisions up to this point and moving forward?
So for photography, it's very common for us to do editions. It's kind of makes the most sense because you can print as many editions as you want, as long as you hold integrity within that collection and keep the numbers where you said you'd keep them. When it comes to NFTs, I think one of ones, they're great, but not everybody can sell a $50,000 print every day. It's not practical. So when I look at the NFT market for photography, editions are essential, I feel like, to make sustainable income. And therefore, you'll see in a lot of the space, like, editions are cash grabs, or they're oversupplying, their market, or whatever the case may be. But these aren't cash grabs. This is called income. This is how, photographers have literally made income over the last couple hundred years. And it just makes sense that this is what we're doing now. Photography has always been a very undervalued art form, all the way back to Ansel Adams till now. People just kind of, it's used on Instagram. We're sold the idea that we should be paid in exposure, and that's how we pay our bills. But with NFTs, it has allowed us to really find a market and curate our collectors into what we believe is a legacy for our art. So I think, like, when it comes to editions, especially for photography, it is 100% essential on how we can maintain sustainable income.
When you think about, like, brand collaboration, it's going to be happening more and more as time goes on for you and for your peers. You're going to have these big brands, right? Outdoor merchandise brands. You're going to have different brands that, have some sort of connection to landscape, and they want to do a collab with you because you already have a community or whatever reason. How would you navigate these types of things coming, as opportunities to you? And what would draw you to work with maybe a huge established brand that wants to do something in partnership with you to reach a broader audience?
So I've actually brought in a few brands already into this space. National Geographic is one of them.
Right.
I'm working with, a couple other ones right now. And I would think, like, Keith Grossman from Time Magazine really kind of set the model on how big brands should enter the space organically, starting spaces, really reaching to the community and finding out what really makes this place move and how it works. So when I look at big brands and how I want to work with them, my main goal is, if I'm going to work with them, to be almost like a controlled advisor, have really almost complete control of how the drop goes and how everything works out. National Geographic is a good example of kind of how they didn't really listen to the community and it didn't really work out for the drop.
Right.
And moving forward, when I work with brands and see them coming into the space, my goal is to make them understand that although their hands are very tied by legal, and I know they have very small teams when they enter the space, because when a brand enters the space, I feel like, the CEO says, yeah, I'll give you like 3 people and 10 grand and good luck.
Right.
Make it work.
You'll make us millions.
Exactly. It's like everyone thought Time had like 3,000 people on the team, and it was like, no, it was just Keith, Lane, Maya, and Bharat, and like maybe like one of it was such a small curated team that it's like they have to make miracles happen. So I think when I talk to brands and try and make them understand, it's like the most important thing is to understand you can't just create a community by opening a Discord.
Yeah.
It's all about really reaching out to who we are organically and really understanding how this space operates.
Well, John, I'm in your town. I'm here in Vegas right now.
What?
I know, it's wild. And you're here in Henderson. So what I love to do, and we already talked about this, but I'm gonna let the community know, is I love to wrap our conversation short now. And I have a couple dozen more of these scheduled the next 4 days, because I just love making new friends and telling all of our amazing people in NFT NYC about all the rad folks that are doing innovative things like yourself. But when I'm done, I wrap up Thursday. Why don't we connect in your incredible backyard that you were showing me and do part 2? So how's that sound?
Dude, let's do this at my house. I love it. You're like 10 minutes down the road. Let's make it happen.
We're going to do this. All right, everybody. Well, hope you enjoyed the conversation with John, and I look forward to having another fuller conversation with him for all of you. And until then, have a happy, happy day.